So this is our final video at 5:20. School ended officially 3 hours ago.
This video will be. It's like a 24-hour challenge. It is. No, sorry.
Yeah, this video is gonna be pretty long because we're doing World War II and the Cold War.
Yeah, and they're both really big topics. We just want to get everything kind of last for. We won't be doing any of the modern stuff. That is completely your fault if you didn't listen in that class.
Yeah. So dedication. We have dedication.
Yep.
So to start us off, World War II. Get out. Sorry. World War II, just like World War One, it didn't really start overnight. It was built up over years. We talked a little bit about it.
We talked about the bitterness.
Yeah. So as dictators pushed forward and the world struck back. So Germany, Italy, and Japan all pursued militarism, imperialism, nationalism, and totalitarianism, which is what we call MINT. That is the analogy? Slogan, whatever. MINT, M-I-N-T. So just some events that led to the start. So Italy invades Ethiopia in 1935.
Completely different when France failed the first time.
So Hitler rebuilt Germany's army, which was against the Treaty of Versailles, and marched into the Rhineland, which was taken from him, and pushed the idea of Lebensraum, which was like living space. Basically, he wanted more land for the Germans. So
I just preface this by kind of motive. Again, we talked about. I just want to reassure this topic. We talked about bitterness on how Hitler was bitter, and really Germany was bitter because of the reparations that they had to pay and the depression that they were kind of sent into, and that bitterness kind of led to the war.
So in 1938, Hitler annexed Austria, which was, how do I say that?
That?
Yeah.
That is Austrian German, bro. We don't need to know that.
Yeah, I know, but you do need to know that. What do you mean? Yes, you do.
Yeah.
No, that was Hitler annexed Austria and made like this Austrian-German thing called Anschluss, and he demanded for Sudetenland, which was Czechoslovakia, and this is where the strategy of appeasement came in. So at the Munich conference, Britain and, I forgot his first name, but Chamberlain, and France, they gave in to Hitler. They used a strategy called appeasement. So, there it is, Neville Chamberlain. So as a ruler, your obligation is to the people. So they were doing what they were trying to avoid war. So to do this, they thought, all right, maybe if we just give Hitler Sudetenland and Austria, he'll back off, he'll be satisfied. It was a good attempt. I understand the reasoning, but it didn't really work out so well. But there's a strategy behind it. Everyone knew that Britain wasn't ready for war. So some people say that this appeasement was just to buy time to prepare for the
so inevitable
they could
mobilize their troops.
Yeah, mobilize
Again,
their troops.
this war did end up being inevitable, just like the first one.
Yeah. So in 1939, Germany signed the Nazi-Soviet pact with the USSR, which shocked the world.
And again,
because now they were working together.
Yeah, they were working together. They signed a pact. They still didn't like each other.
Yeah,
it was a peace treaty that Germany did end up breaking, but they just created that pact so it would catch the USSR by surprise when they do eventually invade. And then they invaded Poland.
1 week later, Germany invaded Poland, and World War II had begun.
Yeah. Now, Germany's early strategy was Blitzkrieg, or lightning war, which was fast-moving tanks and bombers that overwhelmed enemies. Kind of like a modern version of guerrilla warfare, just kind of all over the place, like sneak attack, stuff like that. Poland fell fast. Poland wasn't prepared for it. France collapsed. France wasn't prepared for it. And Hitler set up Vichy France, which was the puppet state. Again, just, kind of controlled it. The miracle of... What?
Let me talk about that.
The miracle of Dunkirk.
Yeah, so the miracle of Dunkirk, basically, like...
Can I repeat it? That's it.
Oh, yeah,
perfect.
Yeah, feel free. So, basically, the miracle of Dunkirk was when the... Yeah, no, you're good. Just
of course. Yeah, no problem.
So, so there's a place in France called Dunkirk. It was like a beach sort of on the coast of France. And what Germany did is they pinched the troops down there. All the troops were stuck on this beach, like 300,000 of them, right?
Nowhere to go.
Nowhere to go. And basically, they were cooked. But for some reason, Germany backed off a little bit. And in that time, France was able to get like a lot of just normal people to come on their boats and rescue soldiers, and it was seen as a miracle because of how many soldiers were saved.
It wasn't exactly like a victory as you think, like, oh, you take over a certain territory, but it definitely was a morale boost
For sure.
for the soldiers. Like, okay, we got this, we can do this, and that is what caused, again, that sparks nationalism, that sparks patriotism, and nationalism adds to, the wanting to fight, the wanting to win, and that also added to their.
So now, to be honest, Germany, they're doing pretty well in this war. They have France, they have Poland, they don't have to worry about Russia. They're really just focusing on Britain. So in 1940, Hitler made his attack, the Battle of Britain, which were a bunch of, what was it? It was Blitzkrieg, or is that something else?
Blitzkrieg or something.
Blitzkrieg, something else. But this was a bunch of air attacks that targeted the cities, but Britain, they refused to surrender. They're not going down like that. And here's Germany's biggest mistake. In 1941, in 1941, Germany broke the Nazi-Soviet pact with Operation Barbarossa, and basically they invaded the USSR. And as Ed said at the start, it sort of shows that the whole time they were just doing it so they were only making peace so they could have the element of surprise. So now if we go and zoom in on the Pacific a little bit.
We already talked about that Japan invaded Manchuria and then China and committing atrocities like the rape of Nanjing. But just a little background between kind of the beef between Japan and America. Japan, again, they needed living space. That's why they invaded Manchuria. That's not why they raped Nanjing, but that's why they need some living space, and kind of to suppress this extreme growing population, they exported a lot of their people into. Export's the wrong word. A lot of people emigrated. A lot of people emigrated into America, but America changed their immigration laws, and Japan didn't like that, and that created some beef, and a bunch of other little small things happened.
Yeah, wow.
And then Japan bombed Pearl Harbor, bringing the United States into the war. That was really stupid, because the United States they're really powerful.
Very strong military.
And I would say that that the Axis powers were winning.
The Axis powers were 100% winning. They had France, they had Poland. All they had to get was Britain. Japan, it was so stupid. They bombed Pearl Harbor. Now it was really a world war. So,
Hey, Mama.
yeah. So now we get into the Pacific Front. Do you want us to not do the Cold War and tell her to come now?
No, it's just.
Oh yeah, we'll do it all. Okay.
Mama, can you give us
10 minutes? 15?
20 minutes, please?
Yeah, 20 minutes. Yeah, we'll be safe.
All right. Thank you. Bye.
All right, so the U.S. now was in a battle with Japan mainly, and they fought Japan through the strategy of island hopping, which was sort of going from island to
I also want to talk about. I also want to talk about kind of the shift. Thank you so much. The power shift again. We were talking about the Axis powers were definitely winning, but then when America joined, the Allied powers were up so much. There was a letter. Do you remember this? There was a letter from this British general, like celebrating. Oh my God, we won. Yeah, people were saying.
Actually, I forgot something. Chamberlain, after appeasement, was voted out by the people. Winston Churchill came in, absolute great leader. He's the one who literally, the second the U.S. entered the war,
we won.
He wrote, yeah, war's over, we won. He knew. So the U.S., they used the strategy of island hopping, because Japan's a bunch of islands. They were just going one at a time, getting closer to the mainland.
Yeah.
So
in Japan, I don't know if you know this, but there's the big Japan, and there's a bunch of little islands dotted below it.
Yeah.
So the United States was going to go to each of the islands, hop from island to island, take over each island. So then, because the reason that they couldn't invade the actual mainland of Japan was because that Japan had these naval bases in these different islands. That's kind of a way that they could control the region. So they were able to kind of protect themselves, again, like a buffer zone. When we talk about Hitler, a buffer zone like that, they had a buffer zone with water. So America island hopped, and then they were able to, after they got all the islands, they were able to take them.
Yeah, so a lot of the battles were brutal. There was the Bataan Death March, where the U.S. and Filipino... What's POWs?
What?
The fuck is that?
Oh, I know this. Prisoners of war.
The U.S. and Filipino
Wow.
prisoners of wars were tortured and killed. And by 1945, Japan was like, we're not surrendering. We don't care. You might be like destroying us, but honestly, this is expensive for you guys. Like, we're not surrendering. So that's when the U.S. was like, you know what? We're ending this. We're done. Atomic bomb 1, Hiroshima. Atomic bomb 2, Nagasaki. This was one of the most controversial things in all of history because it was a weapon of mass destruction. It was the first time it had ever been used in history. And honestly, it was a big risk. You know, if it didn't work, then we would have probably cooked. But just to go a little bit that I forgot about, Japan's strategy, they used kamikaze, which is basically where they were just flying planes. The pilots were getting in the plane and just purposely crashing into U.S. naval ships to try and destroy our resources.
There were, there were a bunch of moral and ethical, kind of doubts regarding the atomic bomb. If you do find a theme regarding human rights and regarding ethics and morals and stuff like that, this is a great, very meaty topic to think about because there were a lot of arguments for and there was a lot of arguments against. Do you want to just go through? Do you want to do 4 or yes? I'll just do the other one.
I'll do 4. So
Okay.
basically, everyone knew that this war was expensive for all people, especially the United States. I mean, then again, it is war, so technically all goes. There weren't many regulations set up against this, considering it was the first time it had been done in history. And Japan said, we're not surrendering, so the U.S. sort of had to take matters into their own hands.
Yeah, now, arguments against, there were massive civilian deaths. Again, I don't know if Trevor said this, but 4, overall, there would be more deaths if they would actually fight like troop to troop because a lot of
if they
troops died.
if they continue the island hopping,
but
more would have died.
America, they targeted like military areas, but they did not target military bases. They targeted cities, which led to massive civilian deaths. And also long-term radiation. They didn't have this into account. I know they didn't have the radiation into account. And
Did you see Oppenheimer?
no, you know my dad knew Oppenheimer. I swear he did. A little fun fact.
That's literally not possible. Like, or it's not possible, but your dad did not know Oppenheimer.
My dad's friend's dad was Oppenheimer's second in command. He was his best friend. They worked.
Get out, bro.
I
My
swear-
dad's
I-
friend's dad, uncle's cousin's
Alright,
fish. Get out of here, bro.
Fish. Alright. And some say Japan was already close to surrender. Again, like they said, oh no, they weren't surrendering, but we don't really know anything.
I did not see this.
What?
I did not see this.
Oh.
So another argument for was also that the U.S. sort of flexed a little bit of their power. It showed like, yeah, we have this atomic bomb and we're not afraid to use it. So now this is what Abs wants to talk about.
No. Alright, genocide? Okay, let's talk about the Holocaust now. A little soft topic. As the war raged, the Nazis carried out one of history's darkest crimes. I think this topic is soft. I don't even think we need to do it. You think we need to do it?
No. I actually
honestly,
don't. Only because you guys know enough about the
Only because
Holocaust.
I don't want to
Get out. No, you guys know enough about the
Holocaust.
Holocaust. Yeah.
It's gonna be.
So now we go into the aftermath of World War I. So the United Nations was founded because the League of Nations never actually worked out, and they had
That's because America
dropped out. Yeah.
Dropped out.
They had like the same plan to promote diplomacy, human rights, global cooperation. The UN adopted the Universal Declaration of Human Rights, ensuring freedom and dignity for all people. But peace did not last long, as tensions between the US and the USSR would soon lead to a new conflict, the Cold War.
Yeah.
Wait, let me just go see how long this is.
Alright. If this is about 15 minutes, we're gonna cut it and we're gonna do a new one. If not, we're just gonna
13?
cut it.
Or do we just breeze through the Cold War? Cut it.